One quiet night, under a sky full of stars, Baxley was just about to drift off to sleep when all of a sudden she heard something strange at the bottom of the garden. Soft, hushed whispers were coming from an area of the garden by the rose bushes. Baxley got up to investigate, and as she crept closer, she could hear and see what appeared to be a small group of garden gnomes, lifelike and alive, huddled together and plotting something. "Tonight we raid the tomato patch," one whispered. "Big red prize winners," another whispered. Baxley narrowed her eyes and thought to herself, "Not on my watch." With that, she darted over to the garden shed and grabbed her gear, a utility collar, flashlight, and rope. It was go time. Meanwhile, the gnomes crept through the flower beds with sacks slung over their shoulders, giggling in the dark. Baxley raced ahead and leapt onto the garden wall, landing squarely in the path of the motion-controlled garden lights. The lights burst on and lit up the whole garden. The gnomes froze like, well, gnomes. Baxley dropped to the ground and gave a tug on a vine with her teeth. With a whoosh, a puff of dandelion fluff filled the air, swirling around the gnomes in a blinding cloud. One tripped and fell face first on the grass, another tumbled backward into a compost bin. Baxley then took a flying leap off an overturned wheelbarrow and soared through the air. A strawberry that she had been holding in her mouth landed square on the gnome leader's hat with an almighty splat. He staggered backward, his eyes crossed, not knowing what was happening, and shouted, "Retreat! Retreat!" Without missing a beat, Baxley scooped up a muddy clump and flung it with a flick of her paw. It smacked another gnome in the face, knocking off his hat. He spun like a top and landed head-first in a watering can. As another gnome fled through a pumpkin patch, Baxley charged on, and with a bark and a sudden burst of speed, she rolled a pumpkin into his path. The gnome flew backward into the rose bushes with a thump. One last gnome raised a white petal in surrender, but tripped on his own beard and toppled into the compost heap with a defeated oof. The garden fell silent. By sunrise, the gnomes had picked themselves up and retreated back to their stiff stone poses, pretending nothing had happened. Baxley stood tall on a large garden rock, her tail wagging with pride. The tomatoes were safe, shiny, unsnatched. Back in her bed with one ear still listening, Baxley sighed. The garden was safe again. For now.